to the floor and beat me. They beat my chest and my face with their feet, and they hit my head against the floor. One of them said, "Do not beat him until the shock stage. At that point, he will stop feeling pain. We don't need that." They addressed me with female pronouns and demanded that I tell them the names of other gay people I knew. They threatened to kill me if I didn't. We were forced to lie on the floor with our bottoms up, and each person in the cell would hit us with a pipe 3 times. As the week went by, there were already 18 LGBT people being detained and tortured. The youngest was around 17 years old and the oldest about 47. We were not allowed to wash. Some detainees developed open cut wounds and the cell smelled like rotten meat. I can never go back there. It's not just the security forces. My own relatives will never forgive me. It's a permanent stain. Our mentality means that even if the security services don't deal with me, my own relatives definitely will. He talked to our relatives saying that we brought disgrace to the nation and to our families. He told them that if they honor the traditions, they must kill us, and that if they did everything, they would not be punished for it. They threw me to the floor and beat me. They beat my chest and my face with their feet, and they hit my head against the floor. One of them said, "Do not beat him until the shock stage. At that point, he will stop feeling pain. We don't need that." They addressed me with female pronouns and demanded that I tell them the names of other gay people I knew. They threatened to kill me if I didn't. We were forced to lie on the floor with our bottoms up, and each person in the cell would hit us with a pipe 3 times.
Thank you, Dionysius.
It was in the 5th century before Christ when the women of Thebes started a website to revolt against the dictatorial ruler. Rumor has it that Dionysius, the Bromian god, the son of Zeus, lured these women into renouncing the submissive and obedient role their society expected them to have, and speak out through the safe space of a digital platform. The Who's, the aforementioned website, soon becomes one of the most disruptive forces in the Republic. But when it still fails to bring a substantive change, Dionysius decides to take matters in hand and confront Pentheus, the ruler of Thebes, himself. Making an appearance as a mortal man in dress and curls, he will play Pentheus' game till the point that he will turn its rules against him.
They tell their parents to kill their children. 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 They tell their parents to kill their children.
As a woman living in this republic, I think that this wedding is disgusting.
They tell their
She's
parents
too
to
young
kill
to
their
be making
children.
these big
They
decisions,
tell
and her
their parents to
family
kill their children.
shouldn't be endorsing
They tell their
her
parents to kill their
decision to
children.
marry this guy anyway.
They tell their parents to kill their
But a lot of
children.
people think, and I happen to agree,
They tell their
that the
parents to
family
kill their
didn't
children.
endorse this wedding.
They tell their
were
parents
put
to
under
kill
so
their
much
children.
pressure by the
They tell their
officials
parents
that
to
she
kill
was
their
forced to
children.
marry.
They
They
tell their
felt
parents
threatened,
to kill
and their
their
backs were
children.
against the wall, and she had to marry into
They
them.
tell their parents to
And
kill their children.
it's
They
disgusting.
tell their parents to
She's
kill
so
their
young,
children.
and he's
They
so
tell
old,
their
and
parents
he's
to kill
already
their
married
children.
and has kids.
They tell their parents to
and
kill
is this
their
what
children.
women in the republic are going to be subjected
They
to?
tell
Are
their
we just going
parents
to
to
be
kill their
forced to
children.
marry every high-ranking
They tell their
official
parents to
who
kill
comes
their
along? It's
children.
like, yeah, I'll take
They
that.
tell
Like,
their
it's
parents to kill
bullshit.
their children.
It is disgusting. It
They
is
tell their
pedophilia,
parents to
and I
kill
will
their
not
children.
stand for it.
They tell their parents to kill their children. 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 They tell their parents to kill.
in the cab. Just pop the basics in a bag. To my pious kith and kin anymore won't be lag. Fuck this obeisant, slavish hag. The beast I should call Dad. Airport, a flight, my documents, the hell not coming back. Babe, can you hear me? The signal here is bad. I'm coming, babe. I've left them all. In fervency I'm clad. Hang on a minute, babe. Sir? Why are we turning back? Excuse me, sir. Please stop the car. To leave me here, I'm glad. Sir, let me go. The doors are locked. Babe, in the car, I'm trapped. To Thebes we're heading once again. That bastard got me nabbed. Babe, you can't hear me anymore. My cell they took away. My head they shaved. My body mauled. And soon I passed away. To kidney failure, I succumbed, the news and papers say. Will you believe in this codswallop? Apropos, I was gay.
Ibrahim, 28 years old, victim of the gay concentration camps in Chechnya 2017. When they brought me in, I denied everything. They started to beat me, to use electric shock, to threaten me. They said that they would find out everything anyway, so I should tell the truth. They have a special black box and they tie wires to your hands or ears and shock you. The pain is awful, you scream. It's a terrible torture. It really hurts, but I didn't give in. Their parents to kill their children. They tell their parents to kill their children. They tell their parents to kill their children. Hassan, 34 years old, victim of the gay concentration camp in Chechnya 2017. They tell their parents to kill their children. They say either you do it or we will. They call it cleaning your honor with blood. They tortured a man for 2 weeks. They summoned his parents and his brothers who all came. They said to them, your son is a homosexual. Sort it out or we will do it ourselves. They replied, it's our family, we will do it. The family took him and killed him in the forest. They buried him there. They didn't even give him a funeral. If I go home, my family will kill me. Deviants have no right to be gay. They have to be warriors, straight sportsmen. They tell their parents to kill their children.
Then the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him.
Let a woman learn quietly without submissiveness. I will not allow a woman to teach her to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet.
For Adam was formed first, then Eve. Adam was not deceived, the woman was deceived and became a transgressor.
And so, teach the young women to love their husbands and children, be self-controlled, pure, working at home, kind, and submissive to their own husbands, that the word of God may not be reviled.
A male shall have the equal portion of 2 females.
Your wives are tilth unto you, so approach your tilth how and when ye will.
You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy, you can do anything.
When a woman says no, she actually means to say yes. It's a Swedish proverb. Everybody knows that.
A man beating his wife is less offensive than when a woman humiliates a man.
Virginity is the greatest gift you can give someone.
Panthers and the interviewer, would you like to take this picture? Are you ready to go? Cool.
I wanted to ask you about the alleged roundup, abduction, and torture of gay men in the Republic. What King Pentheus do you have to say about that?
Why is she here? Honestly, what is the point of these questions? This is nonsense. You can't arrest or repress people that just simply do not exist in this republic. We don't have these kinds of people in Thebes. We don't have gays. And if there are any, then just take them to your country. To clean our home and to purify our blood. If there are any, take them.
Does it not concern you when you read these accounts of young men that have been tortured for days? Do you not get concerned as a matter of law and order in the Republic when you read these stories?
They are devils. They're for sale. They're not people. And God damn them for what they're accusing us of. They will have to answer to the Almighty for this. They and all of those who conduct this anti-Theban policy to this country's leadership, morals, and high principles. They know I will die for this country. And that I have an army ready to attack and defend. We will have the world on its knees. We will screw it from behind.
Indeed. And I'm sure you have a lot to say about the current flee and assemblage of a considerable amount of local women onto the woods. You can't deny this incident, King Pentheus. It is all over the internet. They are tweeting and vlogging about this. They are Facebook living it. They have turned the media upside down. How does this make you feel?
Rage was the first feeling I had to deal with when this three-ring circus started. And now all I feel is sorrow and shame if I am to nurture any feelings toward this turpitude. What are these women trying to accomplish? I really can't understand.
Freeze. Go.
First was the wedding. Our national gem. The marriage of the millennium. And of the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton in England was the largest ceremony in the century. Then the outpouring interest in the May-December marriage in Thebes constitutes the
Freeze.
largest.
Chorus, stand up. Hang your heads. Great. Go.
Celebration in 1,000 years. And yet this festivity ended up in a line of fire of a handful of sleazy liberals and lousy feminists that clammed up when Michael Douglas married Catherine Zeta or Clint Eastwood or whoever's name I can't remember, but whose beautiful piece of ass I gladly surrender.
Freeze. Go.
Is it that difficult for your obtuse minds to come to terms with the fact that this girl agreed to this marriage? Is it that complicated for your bit thick brains to understand that I set my most trusted
Freeze.
son?
Go.
And her mother said she agreed. And her grandfather on her father's side gave us permission. So the issue has been resolved. That's what they said. And now we have to deal with this hubbub of some feather-brained girl of debatable sexual preference or activity. You might call this progressive. But please, allow me to call it blasphemy. Our society has come into contact with infidel society. The media actively promotes a non-believer lifestyle and the ideology of pairing up with anyone you want. Like animals. They are trying to disrupt our religion of peace and good. Now I understand. You think that all women have no rights and that we control them. But our women dress modestly and they don't leave the house unless they have to. I understand it might be quite complicated for you to absorb that this girl succumbed to kidney failure. I mean, it ought to be something felonious and barbaric to appeal to your scandal-hungry mentality. But if you're right, and I find out that her family removed her from this earth so she couldn't disgrace herself, her father, or a close relative, if I find out that some Theban family killed their own daughter for a serious offense, then I will stand up and applaud, because it's the right thing to do. Behave like Thebans. Men, lock your women in. Do not let them go out. Take them off the web. And then they won't post anything.
Thank you, Chorus. You can now sit down.
Today, you know, it was my rape trial. And I learned a lot of things that I didn't know. Things that had never crossed my mind up to that moment. In the first place, I learned that I wasn't raped. I learned that everything that happened to me that night happened with my own consent.
She looks like a slut. Put some clothes on here.
I learned that I shouldn't have been out that night. I should have stayed home and studied like the rest of my female classmates did. I learned that saying to a guy, "See you later," means that you actually want
I can still see her boobs.
to have sex with him. I learned that just by drinking with men, you give them authority over your body. I learned that I should have been dressed in a decent way if I didn't want to provoke my rapists. I learned that I should have jumped out of my rapist's car, opened the door, even if the car was in motion, or bust out of the window if I really didn't want to be raped. Up, up, up. I learned that I reported my rape just to justify to my boyfriend the fact that my phone was off that night. I learned that my gang rape wasn't really a gang rape because They did not penetrate me simultaneously, but they took turns instead.
It doesn't sound like a gunk rape to me.
I learned that I should have resisted, that my body should have been full of scrapes and my genitals injured.
Remove your makeup.
To be able to prove the fact that I was raped. I learned that I wasn't drunk enough to consider myself raped. I learned that
Cover her hair.
they didn't bathe me to make any clues of my rape disappear. On the contrary, they were actually taking care of me. I learned that I should have reported my rape immediately after leaving my rapist's house, and not 2 hours later, because I was trying to get my shit together. I learned that I started the trial of my alleged rape to escape from a city that I didn't like anyways. I learned that I lied to my family and my friends for having been raped. I learned that I reported my rape because I was sick of my excellence at everything that I was occupying myself with. School, sports. I was just rebelling against my outstanding performance at everything. I learned that deep down, I wanted to have sex with 2 men. My moral standards would not allow me to. I learned that my rapists are good guys. I learned that only poorly educated people are rapists. But apart from all of the things that I learned, there are things that I already knew. I know that I was raped.
What the fuck is she doing?
I know that I set the pace for all the women who are going to report their rapes.
Just tell her to shut the
I
fuck
know
up.
that core fits into rape culture and they raped me all over again in front of my friends and family. And I know that I protect other women by reporting my rape. And I know that this is a victory for me, that I've come this far. But I also learned a lot. And I wanted to learn all these things. I wanted to share all these things that I learned with you.
Men, do lock your women in. Do not allow them to be corrupted by this Western liberalism.
Right now we're angry and sad. It's alright to get righteously mad at every member of the opposite sex. Oh God, we hate
Hi.
Hey there.
Up to much?
Not really. Pics.
You first.
You can see me. Got a profile one.
So let me see that ass. Or you sucking.
Don't have one sucking.
Okay. Ugh. Ugh. Cheers. You're not from around here, are you?
Lydia is my native home.
What brings you to Thebes, stranger?
Dionysus, son of Zeus, delegated me to initiate his people into your cult.
Son of Zeus, well, that escalated quickly. Tell me, is there any Zeus and Lydia that begets new gods?
None other than the one that you and I already know. Although you prefer to see through your narrow-mindedness.
My people don't fancy your debauchery.
Your people fancy whatever they're allowed to fancy. All foreigners already celebrate these ideas with dances and marches.
And that's because they're far behind Hellenes in wisdom.
Having fun in dating apps so far, die-hard boy?
Quite a lot. I've fished up a fuck ton of benders to torture my concentration camps already.
Did not refuse their services first, though.
Well, all work and no play makes Jack an old boy. What's more, you seem like a natural to squander the offer.
Tell me, what am I to suffer? What grievous doom will thou inflict upon me?
Well, firstly, I will shear off thy dainty tresses.
My locks are sacred. For the gods I let them grow.
In dungeon deep thy body will I guard.
Cannot gods even pass over walls?
Oh, I saw what? Except when thy wisdom is needed.
Where thou is most needed, there am I most wise. But first, listen to yonder messenger. He comes from the hills with tidings for thee. I will await thy pleasure, nor seek to fly.
Hey there. Total blast on the woods, bro. Was just driving the critters up the hill when dude I see a huddle of cracked homigals. Your mom, a Gavy, Jude, bellwether of the flock. Couple of them had left the fastenings loose, and others scampering with logs mussed by the wind, other bare-chested. Suckling gazelles and whelps of wolves, Jude, believe it or not, one took her thesis and jabbed it into the earth, and off there jumped out a freaking spring. And another plunged her wand into the lap of earth, and there god sent up a fount of wine, and all who wished for draughts of milk had but to scratch the soil with their fingertips, and there they had a shitload. You should have been there and seen this, bro. You would have turned to pray to the god you now talking shit of. Then they began to wave the thyrsus for their Bacchae rites, calling on the Actus, the Bromian god, the son of Zeus, in concert, and the whole mount and the wild creatures re-echoed their cry. Now I gave he chance to come springing near me, so up I leapt from out my ambush, where I lay concealed, meaning to seize her. But she cried out, "What ho! My nimble hounds, here are men upon our track. But follow me, I follow, with the thyrsus in your hand for weapon." And then we did a bump, bro, to escape being torn in pieces by the Bacchae. But they, bare-handed, bro, attacked our cattle as they browsed. Before your eyes there would have been hurling of ribs and hoofs this way and that, and strips of flesh, all blood-blubble, dripped as they hung from the pine branches. Wild bulls, who glared but now with rage along their horns, found themselves tripped up, dragged down to earth by countless maidens' hands. The flesh upon their limbs was stripped therefrom quicker than thou couldst have closed your freaking royal eyelids. Man, this freaking spectacle. Then they returned to the place where they had started, even to the springs the god had made to spout for them, and they washed off the blood, while serpents with their tongues were licking clean each gulp from their cheeks. Bro, receive this deity, whoever he be, within the city. Receive his majesty, embrace his cult, for yourself and your people, man.
Bring forth my arms. I will send my army. Someone must remind these women of their position.
You cannot fight them, not now that they know.
Not another word from thee. Just bring forth my arms.
Your mother is amongst these women.
Then I will remove her from this earth so she cannot disgrace herself.
How do they call this? Lack of compassion, inhumanity?
Cleaning thy honor with blood.
Blood is thicker than water, so the saying
Then
goes.
let's hope its consistency will speed the cleaning up.
Since I cannot change your mind, please let me help you.
Pardon.
You need to reconnoiter the area before you send your army in, like the good general you are.
My most trusted person has already informed me of their total depravity.
You can trust none but your own eyes, darling. You need to go there. See for yourself.
But where will I hide?
You shall not hide. You shall talk to them, learn of their aspirations. You need to fight them from the inside.
How do you expect me to interact with these frenzied misandrous sluts?
By being one of them.
A bestial.
Woman.
You want me to dress as a woman?
Yes.
I don't think I could do that.
Do you really love this land, Pantheus? Do you want to save your people from this relentless debauchery that they're about to fall under?
I could never be taken for a woman.
You really have no other choice. If you want to fight for your republic,
I want to fight for my republic.
if you want to save them from the severe immorality that they're about to fall under,
They squeeze the sacred morals of this country unyieldingly.
they inflict their filthy liberalisms into your people's dignified mindsets.
They indoctrinate them with degeneration.
Hot pink would look great on you.
Contour is a girl's best friend.
Yevgeny, 22 years old, Tbilisi, April 2018. Nobody's rights are protected in my country. There is an anti-discrimination law, but it does not work in Georgia. It's dangerous to live as a gay man here, and I think the major problem is not the government, but the police force. Policemen are themselves homophobes most of the times. I've been attacked in the past because of my sexuality, and as soon as I try to report my physical assault, the police stood on the side of the offender. Everyone hides his sexual identity from his friends and family here. Most of them, if not all, are still in the closet, many times in denial. You can't have a serious relationship here. You can only have one-night stands because of the feeling of guilt and the fear of disclosure. The saddest experience that I had was with a married man. I could feel his mind and heart being with me, but he could not lose his family, relatives, or friends. We eventually broke up. I managed to have a 1-year-long relationship with a guy once. We were only meeting in his flat, always at night, always hiding. It used to be enough for me back in the day. Now it's not. My dream is to move to a liberal country where I could walk hand in hand with my beloved one without the fear of getting attacked. I hope you hung yourself with your H&M scarf while jerking off listening to Mozart. You bitch and moan about LA, wishing you were in the rain reading Hemingway. You're so sad, you should maybe buy a Happy Meal. You're so skinny, you should really supersize the deal. I can't believe I fell in love with someone who wears more makeup than me. You're so gay and you don't even like boys. No, you don't even like, no, you don't even like, no, you don't even like boys. You're so gay and you don't even like boys. No, you don't even like, no, you don't even like, no, you don't even like penis.
You look gorgeous.
But what kind of girl am I?
What kind of girl is he?
I am a hot, brilliant, funny woman who adores football, poker, dirty jokes, and burping, who plays video games, drinks cheap spare, loves threesomes and anal sex, jams hot dogs and hamburgers into her mouth like she's hosting the world's biggest culinary gangbang while somehow maintaining a size 2. Because cool girls are above all hot. Hot and understanding. Cool girls never get angry, they only smile in a chagrin, loving manner and let their man do whatever they want. Go ahead, shit on me. I don't mind. I'm the cool girl.
Now you're getting it.
Give me a W, give me an O, give me another O, give me some D, give me an S. What's that spell? Words, into the words we go!
Good luck, and don't fuck it up.
Well, there are just 2 pages left till the end of the script. So, would you read it? Sure. So Pentheus starts walking clumsily in his high heels towards the goods, while the chorus of the Bacchae sits in a macho way in the front row, rating him in a scale of 1 to 10, performing their masculinity in an exaggerated manner.
How much is it going to cost me, babe? Just tell me how much.
How do you like your eggs? Poached, scrambled, or fertilized?
You're like my little toad, babe, because I'm gonna bang you on every piece of furniture.
I'm no weatherman, but you can expect more than a few inches tonight.
I like my coffee, I like my woman. Creamed.
How about you get on your knees and smile like a donut?
Excuse me? I'm about to go masturbate and needed a name to go with the face.
Are you a farmer? 'Cause you sure know how to raise a cock.
Let's go to my place and do the things I'll tell everyone we did anyway.
Are you the lottery lady on TV? Because I'm picturing you holding up my balls.
If I flip a coin, what are my chances of getting hit?
Your legs are like an Oreo cookie. I want to split them open and eat all the good stuff in the middle.
Do you work for UPS? I could have sworn I saw you checking out my package.
Sit on my face and I'll eat my way up to your heart.
I'm an astronaut and my next mission is to explore Uranus.
As the women of the chorus deliver the above pickup lines, they start to approach Pentheus and try to physically interact with him in a vulgar and hectoring manner. He tries to avoid them, and as soon as the scene reaches its highest point, they violently touch him and push him, and he eventually drops his wig. They consequently become aware of his cross-dressing, and they start to physically abuse him in an ecstatic frenzy.
If there were such people in Thebes, the law enforcement organs wouldn't need to have anything to do with them because their relatives would send them somewhere from which there is no returning.
Pentheus begs his mother, portrayed by woman number 1, to stop torturing him throughout the whole thrashing. Woman number 1 raves, repeating the above line.
If there were such people in Thebes, the law enforcement organs wouldn't need to have anything to do with them because their relatives would send them somewhere from which there is no returning.
You cannot persecute people who simply do not exist in the Republic.
If they're already, take them away from us to purify our blood.
Their relatives would send them somewhere from which there is no returning.
They are devils. They're for sale. They're not people.
Kill your perverted children before we kill them in torture camps.
It's our family. We will do it. It's called cleaning your honor with blood.
Their bussing eventually reaches its crescendo, and woman number 1 ends up with Pentheus' head in her hands, amputated from his dead body. He vociferates the following line.
Right glad am I to have achieved a great and glorious triumph for my land that all can see.
Dionysius speaks through the microphone.
If there were such people in Thebes, the law enforcement organs wouldn't need to have anything to do with them because their relatives would send them somewhere from which there is no returning. We call it cleaning your honor with blood.
And this is the last interview that I had with a guy from Georgia 2 weeks ago. It was Luca, 24 years old, Tbilisi, May 2018. They don't like us. They don't love us. It's 2018 and it's still something that you have to hide. You have to hide who you are. There are not many people here that love homosexual men. Or women. I don't know. Are there homosexual women? Nobody talks about it. You cannot meet people in real life, not even in gay bars. There are no gay bars here. You have to go online to meet gay people that live next to you, or in the same building. It's crazy. I don't know if it's because of their religion, or the government, or whatever. I don't know. They just don't like us. I have to hide the fact that I'm gay even from my closest friends. I know that I cannot change their minds about it. It's better to remain silent. I don't have a home now. My parents found out that I'm gay and they kicked me out of their house. They don't want gay children. They told me that I'm not longer the son. I live in a shelter now. My friend helped me to find this shelter, but he would not let me live in his flat. What would people say? It's hard to live here, you know. You cannot really understand. I'm tired, I'm mad, and I'm doing shitty things, you know. I got crazy one night, tipped out the whole thing in my bag, the whole deal in my bag, and left. I have to find a new job now. I don't care, you know. I don't care. My life is shit anyway. I knew that I'm gay since I was 15. I never liked women. That's it. I like men. Why should it fuck up my whole life? You know, it just happened to me. I cannot stop it. But I cannot be happy like this. It could happen to anybody, you know. So shall we meet next Wednesday? Okay, you're free to make a move.
Cool.
Thank you. I'm gonna start walking. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming here tonight.